You are standing in the aisle of your local auto parts store staring at a massive wall of colorful plastic bottles. Each one promises to instantly fix your rough idle, restore lost horsepower, and double your MPG for the price of a cheap lunch. You grab one, read the back, and it sounds like an absolute miracle in a bottle. You pour it into your gas tank, expecting your high mileage daily driver to suddenly run like it just rolled off the showroom floor. But instead of fixing your engine, you might have just signed a death warrant for your entire fuel system and your extremely expensive catalytic converter. Today, we are talking about the absolute truth behind fuel additives. We are going to look at what is actually inside those cheap plastic bottles, why the magic multi-purpose formulas are flat out lying to you, and why pouring the wrong aggressive solvent into your gas tank will leave you stranded on the side of the road with a violently flashing check engine light and a repair bill in the thousands. Let us start with those incredibly cheap fuel injector cleaners you see sitting in the bargain bins near the checkout register for $3 or $4. If you were to pop the cap off one of those bottles and take a heavy sniff, you would immediately recognize the harsh, distinct scent of kerosene or basic petroleum distillates. Kerosene is a very mild, cheap solvent that mixes easily with gasoline, but when you pour it into your modern vehicle, it does significantly more harm than good. The biggest issue is that kerosene is completely ineffective against hardened, baked-on carbon deposits. It simply does not have the chemical strength to dissolve the thick buildup that plagues modern internal combustion engines. But the real danger starts when that heavy kerosene mixes with the fuel in your tank. Kerosene naturally lowers the overall octane rating of your gasoline. Modern engines are highly tuned and rely on a very specific octane level to prevent pre-ignition. When you abruptly lower that octane rating with cheap additives, the air and fuel mixture inside the combustion chamber detonates prematurely before the spark plug even fires. This creates violent, explosive shock waves inside the cylinder, a condition known as engine knock or detonation. You will hear it as a sharp metallic pinging noise under the hood when you accelerate heavily. This premature explosion forces the piston down while the crankshaft is still trying to push it up, which can easily shatter your piston ring lands, severely bend connecting rods, and completely destroy your engine internals. Even if you manage to avoid catastrophic engine knock, those cheap shelf cleaners introduce another major mechanical nightmare. Because they lack the advanced thermal detergents required to actually melt carbon, they tend to just loosen the fragile edges of the deposit. Instead of dissolving the carbon into a microscopic vapor that can safely pass through the exhaust valves, these cheap solvents cause large, hard, jagged chunks of carbon to physically break off inside the intake manifold and combustion chamber. These solid pieces of hot debris travel right through the exhaust valves and shoot directly down into your catalytic converter. Your catalytic converter is filled with a highly restrictive ceramic honeycomb structure coated in precious metals designed to scrub emissions. When those hard carbon chunks slam into that honeycomb, they get permanently wedged inside the tiny microscopic passage. Over time, this completely clogs the exhaust flow. The exhaust gases back up, physically choking the engine, causing a massive loss of horsepower, terrible fuel economy, and eventually melting the internal structure of the converter due to extreme thermal heat buildup. Replacing a damaged catalytic converter on a modern vehicle can easily cost you upwards of $1,500 to $2,000, all because you wanted to save a few dollars on a cheap bottle of bargain bin cleaner. Before we talk about the heavy industrial solvents that will literally melt your fuel system from the inside out, if you want to keep your ride running smoothly and avoid these massive, unexpected repair bills, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. It helps keep this garage talk going. Now, you might think the smart solution is to buy the expensive bottles that boldly claim to be extra strength, track day ready, or professional grade. You need to be incredibly careful with these aggressive products. A lot of these so-called extra strength formulas are just harsh chemical cocktails filled to the absolute brim with aggressive industrial solvents like pure acetone, xylene, and heavy alcohols. Yes, these heavy-duty chemicals will aggressively strip away fuel varnish and sticky grease from your metal hard lines, but they are absolutely devastating to the delicate non-metal components hidden inside your vehicle. Your entire fuel system relies on a complex network of flexible rubber vapor hoses, delicate O-rings, and specialized synthetic gaskets to keep the highly pressurized fuel safely contained. When you dump a heavy concentration of pure acetone or xylene into your gas tank, it instantly attacks those rubber and plastic components. The rubber begins to swell, dry out, and become incredibly brittle. Over a very short period, your sensitive injector O-rings will crack open, leading to incredibly dangerous underhood fuel leaks and raw gas smells. Your fuel pump seals will fail, dropping your fuel pressure immediately and causing severe drivability issues like stalling out completely at traffic lights or failing to start in the cold mornings. Pumping these aggressive, non-lubricating dry solvents through the extremely tight tolerances of a modern high-pressure fuel pump causes rapid metal-on-metal wear. You should never pour any harsh solvent cocktail into your gas tank unless you are fully prepared to replace every single piece of rubber from the fuel filler neck all the way to the engine block. This brings us to the absolute biggest lie in the entire automotive chemical industry, which is the miracle multipurpose additive. You have absolutely seen the bottles that claim they can do everything with a single pour. They boldly promise to clean your injectors, stabilize your fuel for winter storage, fix your noisy exhaust, clean your engine oil, and magically restore your lost horsepower all at the exact same time. Let me be completely clear about this engineering reality. Any chemical product that claims it can do absolutely everything usually does absolutely nothing well. It is chemically impossible to have a single fluid that acts as an aggressive carbon-destroying detergent while simultaneously acting as a protective, lubricating fuel stabilizer. These multi-purpose additives are nothing more than a highly diluted mix of cheap carrier oils and weak solvents. They might thin out a little bit of engine sludge temporarily or make a tank of stale gas ignite a tiny bit easier, but they will never actually cure a real mechanical problem or clear out a heavily clogged fuel injector. Worse yet, because they are a random, unpredictable mix of chemicals, they often react very poorly with the highly sensitive oxygen sensors in your exhaust stream. Pouring a random snake oil multi-purpose treatment into your tank is a fast track to triggering a violently rough idle, completely fouling out a perfectly good set of iridium spark plugs, and watching your check engine light start flashing at you while you are trying to cruise down the highway. But here is a massive mechanical factor that most people completely ignore when they buy any kind of fuel additive at the store. You have to fundamentally understand how your specific engine actually breathes. Over the last decade, automotive manufacturers have largely shifted away from traditional port fuel injection and moved heavily to gasoline direct injection, commonly called GDI. Let us take something incredibly common on American roads, like a Ford F-150 equipped with the 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine. To generate its massive towing torque, around 400 pound-feet, and keep up with strict federal fuel economy standards, that engine injects fuel at thousands of pounds of pressure directly into the combustion chamber itself. The fuel spray completely bypasses the intake valves entirely. Why does this matter for fuel additives? Because if you pour a cleaner into your gas tank, that chemically treated fuel never touches the backside of your intake valves. Modern engines route oily crankcase vapors back into the air intake through the PCV system to be safely burned off. Without a constant spray of liquid gasoline washing over those valves to keep them clean, those hot, oily vapors bake directly onto the blistering hot intake valves, creating layers of rock-hard, solid carbon. No matter how much expensive fuel additive you dump into the gas tank, it will absolutely never reach the top of those valves to clean them. If your direct injected truck is suffering from cold start misfires or a severe lack of passing power due to heavy intake carbon, the only actual fix is to take it to a qualified shop, remove the entire upper intake manifold, and perform a labor-intensive walnut blasting procedure where crushed walnut shells are blasted at the valves to physically chip the carbon away. I am about to explain the only true chemical compound that actually melts carbon buildup safely and how you should properly use a complete fuel system cleaner. But before I reveal this critical industry secret, if you are finding this technical breakdown helpful and want to learn how to really fix your car, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on future deep dives. So, if cheap kerosene, aggressive acetone, and multi-purpose snake oils are bad, what actually works? The only active ingredient you should ever look for on the back of a fuel additive bottle is a highly complex synthetic detergent called PEA, which stands for polyether amine. PEA is the absolute gold standard for safely cleaning internal combustion engines. Unlike cheap solvents that break carbon off in huge, destructive, solid chunks, PEA operates entirely on a microscopic level. It physically melts the carbon deposits, dissolving them into a highly combustible vapor that passes completely harmlessly through your combustion chamber, safely past your hot exhaust valves, and right out through your catalytic converter without clogging a single microscopic pore. When you are shopping, you need to clearly recognize the difference between a basic fuel injector cleaner and a complete premium fuel system cleaner. A basic injector cleaner is just meant to quickly clear the microscopic spray holes at the tip of the injector. A complete fuel system cleaner is much more robust and heavily concentrated. It is formulated to clean absolutely everything the liquid fuel touches. It safely cleans the plastic fuel lines, the electric fuel pump inside the gas tank, the delicate injector pintles, the tops of the aluminum pistons, and the combustion chamber walls. Extensive independent laboratory testing has proven that high-quality, complete fuel system cleaners genuinely reduce harmful tailpipe emissions, smooth out rough, freezing cold starts, and restore fuel economy that was previously lost due to heavy carbon buildup. It is highly beneficial for older, high-mileage vehicles that have been heavily neglected by their previous owners. The proper way to use a premium PEA cleaner is to wait until your gas gauge is almost completely sitting on empty. You pour the entire bottle into the tank at the gas station first, and then immediately fill the tank with roughly 20 gallons of fresh gasoline. This high-pressure flow ensures the thick chemical mixes thoroughly with the fuel instead of just sitting aggressively at the bottom of the plastic tank. You generally only need to do this extensive deep cleaning process once every single oil change interval, or roughly every 5,000 miles. Using it more frequently than that is just a complete waste of your hard-earned money and provides absolutely zero extra benefit to the engine. But here's the ultimate truth about keeping your engine entirely clean and running at peak performance. The absolute best fuel additive on the market is the one that is already blended into high-quality gasoline. If you consistently fill up your vehicle with top-tier certified gasoline from busy, reputable stations, you rarely ever need to buy an aftermarket chemical additive. Top-tier gas contains a heavily federally mandated, tightly controlled additive package loaded with advanced PEA detergents that constantly clean your engine every single time you drive your car. Modern vehicles, especially those designed and built in the last 10 years, are highly engineered to perfectly tolerate 10% ethanol blends and run incredibly clean right from the factory floor. If you are doing your regular preventative maintenance, changing your full synthetic oil exactly on time, using the correct original equipment spark plugs, and putting high-quality top-tier fuel in your tank, your fuel injectors are likely perfectly fine. Additives are not a magic mechanic in a bottle. They cannot physically fix a torn rubber intake boot that is causing a massive vacuum leak. They cannot replace a burned-out ignition coil, and they definitely cannot rebuild a mechanically worn-out electric fuel pump. They are chemical tools meant to clear away years of neglect, not repair broken metal components. Before you ever decide to pour an unknown chemical liquid into your expensive vehicle, you should always open your glove box and deeply read your specific owner's manual. Many modern automotive manufacturers explicitly state that using unapproved aftermarket fuel additives can instantly void your factory powertrain warranty, leaving you completely on the hook for massive engine replacement costs. At the end of the day, keeping your car safely on the road requires basic common sense and a fundamental understanding of how fluid mechanics actually work under the hood. Stop falling for the flashy marketing graphics and the $3 miracle cures sitting on the parts store counter. Stick to high-quality top-tier fuel, keep your synthetic oil clean, and if you absolutely have to clean out a heavily neglected fuel system, only ever use a premium product with a proven PEA chemical formula. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever dumped a cheap additive into your gas tank only to have your car start running significantly worse? What specific OBD2 trouble code or mystery drivability problem are you currently chasing down right now on your personal vehicle? Drop your exact symptoms, your engine type, and your scanner codes down in the comments below, and let us figure it out together. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, give the video a solid like, and I will see you in the next one.